a hotel's grand opening, it's just this incredible moment. It's the finish line after months, maybe even years of really intense work. But what happens after all the confetti settles? What happens when the launch team packs up and goes home? How do you make sure that the energy and the excellence you have on day 1 is still there on day 100 or even day 1000? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. We're talking about how you build a system that's made for lasting success.
Hello and welcome. I am a hotel AI expert, and I'm really pleased to welcome all of you, the students of Europe Hotel School, to your online learning journey. Now, whether you're a current student or just someone who's super passionate about the future of hospitality, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to break down a really crucial, but honestly often overlooked part of running a truly world-class hotel. So think of this as your peek behind the curtain at what it really takes to build a legacy. Let's jump right in. Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We've got 4 key parts. First, we'll talk about that final, critical pre-opening stage. Then, we'll get into the details of crafting what's called the F&B Playbook. After that, we'll cover the formal handover protocol, what that actually is, and finally, we'll tie it all together and talk about how this all leads to building a lasting legacy. All right, let's kick things off with that final pre-opening stage. This is such a critical moment, It's where a project stops being just a launch and really starts becoming a permanent, successful operation. So there's a term for this. We call it the transition to sustainable operation. But what does that really mean in plain English? Well, it's the professional way of saying you're formalizing, well, everything. All the knowledge in people's heads, every single procedure, all the systems you've built, you're taking all of that and turning it into one solid, cohesive resource. And the goal? It's simple, but it's so powerful. You want to create an operation that can run like clockwork, successfully and consistently, without depending on any one single person. So how do you capture all of this? Well, all of that formalization, it all comes together in one central, super important tool. This is where we get into crafting the F&B playbook. And I really love this description. It's basically the operational DNA of your entire F&B division. So what exactly is an F&B playbook? You can think of it as the master reference document, the one single guide for the entire division. It's kind of like the ultimate encyclopedia for your operation. It serves as a historical record of how everything came to be, but, and this is the crucial part, it's also the main training manual for every single person who joins the team from this day forward.
And look, the reason this thing is so powerful is just how much it contains. It is absolutely comprehensive. I mean, we're talking about everything, from the big picture stuff, like your concept and brand standards, all the way down to the nitty-gritty details of every single standard operating procedure. For service, for the kitchen, for safety. It's got the HR manual with job descriptions and training plans. It's got financial controls like how to close out at the end of the day, the standardized recipe book, vendor lists. It's all in there. It truly becomes the single source of truth for the entire F&B division. Now, here's a really critical point, especially today. This playbook cannot be some dusty binder that sits on a shelf in an office. It absolutely has to be a live cloud-based document. We're talking SharePoint, Google Drive, something like that. And this isn't just about being modern. It's essential for it to work. It lets you control different versions. It lets you make updates easily, which means the playbook can actually grow and evolve right along with the business. And this quote right here, this really gets to the heart of the entire philosophy. A sustainable operation is one where systems and documentation, not just personalities, drive performance. Think about that. It's about building a machine that runs beautifully because of how it's designed, not just because of who's running it at the moment. That is how you build something that actually lasts. So let's really break down why this is so important. Just look at the difference. On one side, you've got the personality-driven operation. It can be chaotic, right? It's inconsistent. And the scariest part? All that critical knowledge just walks right out the door every time a key person leaves. It's just fragile. But now, look at the system-driven model. It's stable. It's consistent. And the best part? The knowledge stays inside the organization. That makes the whole thing scalable, and it means any trained leader can step in and execute. It's just a much stronger way to run a business. Okay, so you've done the hard work. You've built this incredible, detailed system in the playbook. So now what? Well, the next step is just as critical. It's what we call the formal handover protocol.
Think of it as the documented official passing of the torch from the pre-opening team to the permanent leaders who will run the show from here on out. The most important word here is accountability. This whole protocol is a formal, documented process that shifts the responsibility for everything. We're talking long-term maintenance, updating the SOPs. It moves that accountability from the pre-opening leaders over to the permanent management team. It's like drawing a clear line in the sand that says, okay, this is now yours to own, to maintain, and to evolve. So what does this actually look like on the ground? It's not just a concept. It involves very real, concrete steps. First, you train up the permanent F&B controller on all the financial systems, the IMS, the POS reconciliation, all of it. Second, you gather up every single equipment manual and preventative maintenance schedule and officially transfer them to the chief engineer. And third, the big one, the final step. You conduct a formal sign-off of the completed F&B playbook with the general manager. That sign-off, that's what officially closes out the project phase. And all this meticulous documentation, building these robust systems, that formal handover, it's all been leading to this. Our final and really the most important outcome, building a lasting legacy. And that's not just a legacy for the hotel, but for your own career as well. Let's be really clear about something. Everything we've just walked through, this isn't just a nice-to-have idea. This is the professional standard. This kind of robust, systematic approach is exactly the level of project management skill that's expected from strategic leaders coming out of institutions like the Europe Hotel School. This is the stuff that will set you apart in your career. When you think about it, that successful handover does so much more than just end a project. What it really does is kick off the long-term operational life of the hotel, and it does it with confidence. It's what ensures that the incredible quality and the vision you had on day one doesn't just fade away, but becomes a real legacy of stability and excellence for years and years to come. So there you have it. We've laid out the entire framework, all the way from those final pre-opening steps to creating the playbook, and finally executing that critical handover. You now have the blueprint for building real, sustainable, operational excellence. So the only question left to ask is, how will you use this to ensure your legacy?